What is up, rays of sunshine, soul warriors? So I need to talk to you a little bit about something. I did a live on this channel on Sunday, and I told you there was more Return of Christ work coming. They're calling it the cosmic reunification, and I'm going to show you day 3. Day 3, I activated the collective consciousness to Christ. Now, this is something that's very important, okay? And I do mean very important. So I'm going to show you a couple things on what it relates to. And it's not going to take long to see it, but you need to read very carefully into everything that I'm saying and everything that I am doing, and what I have been doing, because I am that. Okay, the sun, the moon, all Return of Christ, from Adam and Eve to Jesus and Mary Magdalene to Sekhmet and Horus, has all been done. Okay, and it's all very relevant, and all of the work that I have been doing since 2019 led us to this moment. Okay, so first of all, I am going to share with you the relevance of day 3. Okay, this is going to be the relevance of day 3, as long as my computer wants to work with me. On my channel, you are going to find what this relates to. Okay, you are going to see what this relates to, the purpose of what I'm about to show you, and it is all in the Return of Christ playlist. Because everything I've done has been recorded for a reason, and I didn't know what I was doing until it was all done. I knew, but I didn't know. You know what I mean? Okay, so I did process Jesus's death. I cleared Mount Shasta. I activated Pyramid in Fiji, which was awakening the God portal. That was my very first pyramid that I reactivated. It is a feminine pyramid. It is also the Earth's root chakra, which I took back from Mount Shasta. Before Mount Shasta was completely cut off from the light and all of California, I had to call back what was rightfully ours and replace it back to Fiji. And I removed all the darkness from Mount Shasta as well. And in Fiji is where I awakened the portal of the gods. And that came in a few times, okay, in the pyramid activations and with the Sphinx, Pharaoh, and God activation portal workshop, okay? These are all pyramid activations that I was doing since 2019. There's a bunch of them. There's 13 of them to be exact, because there's 13 gates to the new earth, which you have to rise now. Because this is big. You guys, we are in the end. We are in the end of ways. We are in the end of what you call time. Time does not exist. You have to heal and rise now. Everything has to be healed. All karma has to be healed. You can't just cut ties. You have to learn the lessons of what took you away from God, okay? Because God gives you free will. The shadow takes it away. So everything has to be through free will, okay? Healed the sun. This is important to what you're about to see. Sun Ascension Portal activation with light language. That was the very first one, and it took place at Lake Titicaca, and I returned the language of the sun. When I activated the dormant chakra systems, I rose again from Lake Titicaca. That is where I drowned in Atlantis, and the white flame went out. My white flame in my heart went out, which was the flame of Christ. You don't have to believe me. I'm here for those that want to see. Atlantis is being reborn. It was actually part of the portal of Machu Picchu, which stretches to Lake Titicaca. Okay? And that is where I learned that, because that is where I was reborn. I saw myself die there. I saw the floodwaters come in, which was not caused by God. Okay? But the sun, the God portal, and the all-seeing eye with Mount Shasta. So they're telling me to slow down. They're telling me to not have expectations that people are going to judge me, but they do, and it hurts. And so I try to just put it out there very quickly and earnestly, but I will slow down, and I'm going to show with pride what I've done, because that's what they want me to do. So Mount Shasta, which is the painting you will see behind me all the time, one of them, and I didn't do that one, was filled with darkness. They stole the power of God. They stole the all-seeing eye, and they closed down the portal of God and placed it in Mount Shasta and convinced all of mankind that it was a spiritual place to go, and it was not. It was filled with darkness and lies and trapped souls. And so I know a lot of spiritual communities and people that would go there for retreats, and I know that they have a very large shadow they can't see me through. It's very true. This is part of also the control of the mind, okay? Activating pyramid in Fiji, awakening the God portal. There was a pyramid underwater there because probably, I don't know if water was always there or not. There's also 333 islands in Fiji, all very relevant. And I opened the God portal, okay? And then in Mount Shasta Part 2, which you will find all the way down here after I did all of the Return of Christ stuff through Jesus and Mary Magdalene and Sekhmet and Horus, we cleared Mount Shasta Part 2, and that's where Archangel Samael burned. He was the original fallen when I undid his contract. And that is when the all-seeing eye, the Christ consciousness, was returned back to where it rightfully belongs. So they cut you off from God. They cut your consciousness off from true God, from the sun, from the moon, because then Horus returned, and he only returned after I undid all of the darkness of the moon and the sun, cleared all darkness back to the beginning of time, and he rose, and I freed his soul after I dried the Nile, which is the final portal you are all rising to now. And Horus rose from the Sphinx. Okay, so these are relevant. All of the work that I've done, including this one, which was on the eclipse, April 8th of this year, or last year, this year, I spoke through the sun and the moon, and I called everybody home. Now, then I birthed the new earth recently on Lionsgate, and we clearly created the divide. You cannot be duality, or you can't rise. Okay, which brings me to now. This brings me to now, okay, because now on Sunday on this channel, I told you guys that we were doing the Lyrans came through, and I'm doing a workshop currently for the Return of Christ. I always think my job's done, and it's not. I thought when I freed Jesus' soul, I was like, oh, well, that's the return. What's going on here? But that wasn't it. That wasn't the only piece. That was part of it. Then I undid the Holy Grail. Then I united Jesus and Mary Magdalene's soul, which was my DM&I. We got those soul fragments, and then we kept going to Sekhmet and Horus, and then Adam and Eve. All has been united through my DM&I. So now the Lyrans came through recently, and I'm doing an 18-day workshop to cosmically, they call it cosmic reunification. Okay, that's what they call it. Cosmic reunification. And I did day 3 yesterday. So we're only supposed to be live on the first day, the 3rd day of the workshop, the 6th day of the workshop, and the 9th day of the workshop. So today I won't do it live, I'll record it. But yesterday we did day 3, and I'm about to show you that, because in day 3, remember I told you about the triangle with the eye. I returned it from Mount Shasta to Fiji, which was the God portal, opened Fiji, healed it all. This painting here was done by somebody else before I actually did the work. You see the triangle with the eye up here. I know the sun is in the way, so I apologize for that. But this, you have souls rising out of the mountain here. And then there was like a fallen angel over here, very dark angel. And then the triangle with the eye. All of that was relevant. Turns out, which I didn't know at the time, that somebody painted that in my energy, was what I did. So I cleared Mount Shasta, reactivated Fiji, turned all of the all-seeing eye back to the portal of the gods, and then yesterday I activated Christ consciousness through the 3rd eye with the triangle with the eye, the all-seeing over God. Okay, and the sun is very relevant too, so I'm going to show you that now. Okay, this is the workshop I did yesterday, day 3, which I was live with those that did the workshop with me. This was day 3 of the Lyran cosmic reunification. So the Lyrans are helping me cosmically. We're bringing in very, very, very ethereal cosmic light. This is extremely highly potent ethereal cosmic light. Okay, it's not to be taken lightly. It is very real what is happening, and it is the awakening of Christ consciousness. Okay, and through the sun. Now this is relevant also for who I am. So if you have an open heart, and those that are ready to rise will hear it, okay? But no matter what I did yesterday is going to affect the earth. Everything I've done, everything I have done affects the earth, and you choose to rise with it or not, because it is a battle for humankind. We are battling for our souls. I mean, I've already won mine, but you have to, through free will, win yours, and you have to follow the path of the sun. So listen very closely to what I did yesterday on October 15th of 24, on day 3 of cosmic light reunification. The cards I've pulled didn't even do these colors justice. They're very, very beautiful. Listen carefully to all details. They glow with white light. And so I'm seeing yellow and some purple rays coming in today as well. Very relevant. You will see the necessary parts. To start, just breathing into the body. I want you to see the roots. So I was gonna take us right to the bench, but first we need to see the roots. We need to see tree roots beneath our feet. So I want you to tune into your really quickly, really quickly. I'm going to show you something else very important that I forgot to show you that's relevant to this. So the reason why trees are so important, not just because of what they do, but because of what I've done. So right after I undid the Holy Grail, I put up protections for Israel. Okay? Protection, healing for Israel, Jerusalem. Trees were used instead of the 144,000. So a year ago, I filled all trees with Christ light. This is relevant, and you need to know this, because that's why you would also see within the Schumann resonance the energy of trees. Like you can see an outline of trees, what looks like trees, because a year ago I filled them all with Christ light after I undid the Holy Grail and united Jesus and Mary Magdalene, and my DM took on the soul fragment of Jesus finally, because my first one died. He didn't make it, and I got to walk in. But on Christmas Day, right before I brought down the blood of Christ, then I undid the Holy Grail. And it was not what you think it was. Okay, it was a darkness. It was a contract written in the blood of Christ to enslave the earth and all of mankind. Okay, and they broke apart my DMs and my soul on multiple levels, not just one. It's not just Jesus you're looking for. Then after that, I brought down the Christ light. This was pure Christ light through the trees. Okay, full power of the sun has also been returned. This is all Christ work. These are not just me talking about it. These are the workshops, which I'm about to show you. I channel them through and I do the work. It's my light. It's my energy that I'm using. God shifted plans and put us in the final portals now. So we are rising now. There's urgency. Day 1, my DM and I aligned one more time, which was Adam and Eve, and he put our feet in the core and we started birthing the new earth recently. Day 2 of new earth creation was a planetary alignment. That comes through in here too. Day 3, I took the sun and the moon and aligned them, and all Christ light came through. Okay? So those are all very relevant for the rest that I'm about to show you. And you need the context, because if you're not clicking links and watching them, or you haven't watched everything that I've done, you're not going to understand the totality of who I am and what I'm showing you. But even if you have shadow, you're going to have a hard time seeing who I am, okay? And what I've done. But this is truly return of Christ work. So yesterday, day 3, cosmic light reunification dealt with, you're about to see. It was the activation of Christ's consciousness through the third eye of all mankind, and the trees, the sun, and my vessel. So listen. Feed and tune into the earth beneath them somewhere, and I want you to start seeing tree roots just kind of rising up out of the earth, and as if we're standing on tree roots. We need the wood element. I just heard speaking truth was important, so maybe necessary. So I apologize. Listen carefully. And then I feel like I'm being like wrapped in this blanket of cosmic rays. And so I feel like that's relevant for everybody. It's just like wrapping in a blanket. And when I sound like I'm talking to others, it's only those that are in the workshop. But I will tell you, and I'm going to mention it, that everything I'm doing is affecting the earth. That's who I am. I move the sun. I move the moon. I changed the poles. I've done that all. And, you know, you have to watch and you have to push past your shadow because they took the truth from you. But it's all right here in front of you. It's white mostly, but then there's those beautiful rainbow rays, and they're just so light and pastel-y and beautiful and very vibrant colors at the same time. Just so beautiful. They're more cosmic-y. They're not like deep, you know what I mean? They're like light. This is actually through Zoom, and it was a workshop that I've been doing. So there were people in it, but you don't need to see them. You need to see me. So I stopped it from sharing like that. But they are in it, and that is who I'm reflecting when I talk personally about all of us. There is a workshop going on, and only those who hear the call through the purest of heart generally work with me. So let's listen. And very flowy and gentle and powerful at the same time. When I say that and when I go into those colors, my forehead tingles. That's relevant. So it's very relevant. They're high vibrational. And then I'm hearing cosmic rays of sunshine. Listen to that, very relevant. So as we're feeling into tree roots, I want to kind of keep our focus like on roots. We need a wood, like wood, textures of wood, smell of wood, feeling wood beneath our feet, or at least imagining it. Connecting to the roots and the trees and the wood, very important, as we begin to bring down some cosmic rays of sunshine. And I feel like they're opening me up, but we're also trickling down from the sun. And this is, again, going to affect the whole earth. So this is part of that day 3, the third day, on the third day, on the third day. Remember on the third day of birthing new earth, it had to do with the sun and the moon? It's kind of what it reminds me of too. It's like bringing down the rays of the sun, but in a different vibrational frequency than we've ever had before. So these are cosmic rays of the sun. They're very high in frequency. And so it's coming down like a trickle, and it's coming down into the earth through the trees, because through the work, the trees are carrying the Christ light, and that's what they're showing me. So they are ready, they are poised, they are open, and they're going to carry down the rays of the sun. So what do trees do with sun? They actually use the sun for like photosynthesis, right? Like there's something that they do with the sun to help change energy. And that's relevant. This is quantum physics related. This is actually true to the work that I'm doing right now. Very important, very related. And so I'm bringing down like these cosmic rays of the sun and into the trees. And that's why our feet right now are rooted into the trees. And so remember those vines also from day 1 and day 2? They're present, and they're like tightening around our ankles and pulling us down very deeply. But we're also standing on wood. Like we need to stand on the wood. We need to stand on the roots. It's very relevant. And then I'm bringing down these cosmic rays of the sun, and they're coming down and going through the trees. And as they're doing that, they are changing something. So the trees filled with the Christ light, now receiving this cosmic rays, also with day 3 of birthing new earth. Like it's all important, very relevant here, and all the Christ light in the sun. You guys, this is much more than I thought it would be, but I knew something important was coming today. And so it's going to change the frequency of the earth, which is why we have to change with her. But also for all of mankind. So as the sun comes down into the trees, the Christ light with it, all of it together combined, and what trees do with the sun, like they're alive. They're doing, the trees are doing something with these rays, and they're going to, it's like photosynthesis. They're going to transform it, change it. I don't want to say transmute it. So I have to say this. So you see me rubbing my head and my hair. That's something that developed. When I first would channel, I would sketch like arrows and lines. It was so weird. I would just randomly be like arrows and lines when I was channeling. I've learned that I'll now be like this. I will pet myself. So that's what but I'm a pure channel. Okay. Everything I say is relevant, and I do mean everything. Transforming it, and it's going to affect the entire earth. And this will be seen physically and felt physically and energetically, and part of why the cards said what they said. Okay, very high heart frequency, evolution, very high vibrational, eighth dimensional realm, beyond 7D energy. Like, I feel like it's more 8D-esque for whatever reason, because they took us into 7D. I wish I could do this justice, because I don't feel like I'm explaining it with justice. I feel like it's very profound, very prophetic. And the sun is coming into the trees where I've put the Christ light. Like the Schumann resonance, I also see an image of that where it's reflecting the tree line. If you guys remember those. And it's like coming in, and it's like almost like a lightning transformation. Like it's like boom, and it changes like DNA. It's like changing all kinds of things. And the trees are helping to transform. And I get that evolution card in my head when I'm saying that. And evolve the earth and mankind. Keep listening. It gets better. Yeah. Part of the event, right? Multiple little events that lead and pave the way for the large event. Yeah, I keep hearing photosynthesis applied. So throughout today's, I'm going to be trickling down the sun very gently, but this is cosmic rays of the sun. These are higher rays of the sun than we've received before. In all my other work, I'll reach up and grab chunks of the sun, and whether you believe me or not, that's who I am. I'm not like anybody else, okay? So I do things that aren't normal, and I'll literally take chunks of the sun and shove it into the earth. And on the videos that I've shown you, they're all relevant to that and to what I've done to the sun. And then there's another side of that where I did a lot to the moon and my DM rising and healing him as well, and him battling that darkness too. So keep listening. It is a different energy, a different light than the earth has received before. So I feel like that's what's separating the earth. Changing the earth, changing the energy, the frequency. Very relevant. And as it's coming down into the trees, they also want me to say, if you notice, I did this on the 15th and the full moon is on the 17th. So we're already in the full moon energy. So this is like eclipse type energy. And I mentioned that too. So keep watching. And the trees is doing something with the photosynthesis applied or whatever it's doing, and the DNA shift and transformation. It's slowly trickling into our feet as well. So it's also affecting our vessel, but listen helping very carefully to ground us through this energy. And then the cosmic rays of the sun are going to slowly come down our upper chakras and through our chakra system, guided by the Lyran beings that we all have in our presence. So we each have up to 3 of them, I feel like, in our energy. And again, our journeys are separate. So you might have slightly different experiences than what I'm relaying, and that's okay. It's whatever is for us as an individual as well. And I'm referring to those in the workshop with me. And now we should have a different bench or somewhat similar, but it might shift even more. So as we're connecting to the roots, we can sit on our bench. So I want you to see and feel into our crystalline bench. Yeah, and right away I heard something different from mine. So it could be very much so different than what you've had so far. And I want you to... it's really weird because mine looks like a chair, like a throne. I want to say chair, but I heard throne. Like this very large seat, and it's not just a bench, but you guys should have a bench, but I want you to feel yourself kind of sinking into that bench. Just feel like it's solid, but at the same time you're combining with the energy of the bench. So just imagine your energy seeping down into the bench. And the trees are still in your feet. Your feet are still anchored into the tree. Roots beneath your feet. Okay? So we have the crystal bench, the roots, and then we have these cosmic rays of the sun. Then we have yellow rays of cosmic reunification and very beautiful purple rays coming in. But before those do, I'm seeing the figure 8 and the cosmic rays of the sun coming down into our crown and our energy. And the visual I get this time is like one of the Lyran beings, instead of pouring water down, it's like they're taking a bucket and they're scooping out energy in the center. So if we were, and it's almost like when you clear a blockage in a dam or a waterway, and it. Some of this is pertinent to the healing I'm doing for the group. So I want you to hear the healing that's for the earth and for mankind, but you don't need to be in the personal healing I do for the group. Trying to recenter and regroup myself, and I feel like that word is very important. And possibility of what will occur today some more. I'm just holding space, and all that I've just done, I'm allowing us to absorb all the energies, and they're still kind of bucketing out. And then I got the image. So we have our element beneath our feet, we have the vines holding them down, these tree roots helping ground us, the cosmic rays coming in and down, our crystal bench, and now I see a figure 8 at my feet, right beneath my feet. Just like we would do in relationship healings, you know how it's like flowing with light. Also, they want me to say on day 8 of birthing new earth was the portal of death and life cycle. So the figure 8 is more relevant than you know. It represents life and rebirth, and the creation of life and the cycle of life. And everybody has to go through that portal. And only some will make it to the new earth. Okay, so it's quantum physics related. It is soul creation level stuff. Return of Christ is bigger than you know, and the work that I've done is beyond our limited mind space. So you have to truly absorb. The more you absorb, the less shadow you have, the more you can see. But now actual Christ activations coming into this workshop. So listen. In healing, I see that. And then as they were ruffling my feathers, or cleansing the feathers, I feel like from my heart out, they're like, how do I describe this? Almost like if you're like cleansing and some more light. So they're pouring rays of the sun down my energy and also down the trees. And you guys are going to receive that from your feet. So let's go back, like here. That rope or anything, and you go from one side and you pull across, cleansing debris. They're doing that from my heart out, like from my heart center, and they're pulling out like these lines of light, just clearing debris off of them. I hope I'm describing that right for what I'm seeing. You take a rope or something and you grab it at one end, and then you just pull with pressure across the rope, and it removes water. Like you can wring something out that way. Or I just went back because I want you to hear what happens, because the pouring sun down my vessel only is relevant as well. Clean something off. It's kind of doing that from my heart out. So from the heart space out, like removing debris. I guess that's the best way to say that. And some more light. So they're pouring rays of the sun down my energy and also down the trees. And you guys are going to receive that from your feet. So they are pouring sun down my energy and into the trees. And from the trees, you guys will receive. You need to listen to the whole thing to the end. Something important happens all the way. The roots your feet are on. At least to the end of what I show you, not the end of this entire workshop. You don't have to see the rest of this whole thing, so just bear with me. Right now, this is necessary before we even tune in to the yellow and the purple rays of cosmic reunification. This is doing something to the earth. Big time. Like a genetic transformation, activation. It reminds me of day 3 of birthing new earth with the sun and the moon, and then all the DNA came through the Christ light. Remember that? Kind of reminds me of that. Like I see the sun going into the trees, and then I see it like photosynthesizing, whatever the trees do with light and changing things and changing energy. That's what they're doing with it, but then it's affecting the earth genetically, which is very interesting. I don't know how else to describe that. I hope I'm doing good. And that's changing the whole entire vibration of the planet as we speak.
So the beginning of this week, was it Monday? I told you guys you needed to raise your vibration this week, and there's a reason you need to use the waves of frequency.
And so I just need to hold space. I need to hold space for us to absorb these energies and this light. And as they're pouring it down me and it's going into the trees, it's going to rise up through your feet as what is for you to handle and have at this time. Because you can handle differently than what I can. I can handle more of that than you can. Does that make sense? So you have to receive it this way, where I'm having it poured down my center line, because this is different. This is different rays of the sun.
Keep listening. I'm a pure channel, so I'm just channeling everything and doing the work with them.
And then I also heard like removing debris from the lens.
So your lens has to be pure love to rise.
And I keep hearing cosmic rays of the sun. And I do see them coming down. Like it's also affecting our upper chakras, because I can see that. So whether or not they're pouring it directly down you, it's still affecting, because it's like trickling down too. And so I feel like it's still affecting our higher chakras and everything. High heart opening.
Which is your connection to God. But Christ consciousness also comes through the third eye, so just watch. It gets good.
I almost feel like they're directly pouring it into my heart space. And then I heard the words truth serum supplied or applied. I think we had the throat chakra. Truth serum applied. So remember I said it's about seeing everything clearly? I thought we just needed to dig into until we do, but they're going to help that process.
This is relevant. Everything I say
They
is
are
relevant.
helping that process.
Keep
It's
listening.
time you have to see everything clearly, or it's dangerous not to. Not that danger is the right word, but you don't want to be on the wrong side of the light, right? Like we have to see everything clearly.
You don't want to be on the wrong side or you won't make it through. If you have shadow, you cannot rise. If you have karma, it's your demise.
Where you can't see clearly, it's because shadow is there.
Yep.
And it has a good way of saying, oh no, everything's fine. You're seeing everything, but trust me, you're not. When I came out of that yesterday, I had all of this information hitting me and I could see everything. So I just got another image. So I got an image of where, like, if a tree was broken or cut off and it's like a stump, it's almost like an open wound, right? Like the center is exposed of the tree. And I see, oh, like, remember how they cut down all the redwoods? And I would talk about that on my journey a lot of the return of Christ.
Yes, so I work with the redwoods a lot. I would help people release their past lives after they heal them there and things like that. And then we went to Northern Asia because California is going through a transformation. There's no life there anymore. We use them for their purpose and it's done. But they used to have all of those trees all across the northern hemisphere. They used to be very vibrant and abundant on the earth. And they chopped them down purposefully.
And I feel like the sun is pouring into the center of those and it's causing them to be reborn. And I'm seeing that photosynthesis, like this weird rebirthing. I wish you guys, I don't know if you can see what I'm seeing, but it's quite amazing. So like the sun is going down into these tree stumps or the energy of where the tree was, and it's causing like this transformation and like a rebirth of our trees through the sun, through the seeds, through the breeze, through the earth, through the layers, through the water. The elements, remember the elements are purposeful. I definitely know 3 of our elements are 3 separate elements. For sure, I know that because we talked about that on day 1. And so I can see that there's like so much purpose, right? Okay. So I'm seeing like rainbow lights in my mind's eye. And there's a more now a focus on our solar plexus and the heart space. And you guys, I don't feel like these huge blockages in my energy. I don't feel that at all. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing that needs to be removed necessarily. But I feel like they're opening them up and we're starting to bring in some light. So the yellow rays and the very beautiful purple rays. I don't want to call them violet. I don't want to say any specific tone because they're so like
Cosmic-y.
just vibrant and pastel-y. The pastel is a really good description because they're very light. They're very light in frequency, but also very powerful, and they glow white. And so I will just say purple, because you know it's a different purple. It's so beautiful, but so light and so vibrant at the same time. And then yellow, very relevant today.
Just listen, because every detail is important, so I don't want to skip too much. Because I say things out of the blue sometimes. Most of the time. And every part of what I do matters.
But it's not like something's being removed from the solar plexus and the heart, but I feel like flittering energy. Does that make sense? Like little flutters of energy and light going on in there, especially the solar plexus right now and in between the solar plexus and the heart. Now, all of the other planets that are aligned to our new solar system are also getting the sunlight. So the sun is working its way through the alignment of the planets.
Which I did on day 2, but also in the dormant chakra system and in taking us into 7D. I did shift the whole entire axis is shifted. We have new planets because we have combined with the Pleiades galaxy in the return of Christ.
Truly is part of the return of Christ work. Day 3 is relevant. That's why we had to do lives on certain days. And it goes with like the third day of birthing New Earth too. I really feel like that. It's photosynthesis applied, where the trees are receiving all this sunlight.
With the full moon energy as well. That is, tomorrow is the full moon, and so it's like an eclipse.
The earth, the rays, like there's so much going on here. The planetary alignment, and then it's causing a transformation of divine genetic.
It gets better.
I don't like the old worlds of mutation or transmutation, because it's not that, but it's like genetic creation, genetic application. There we go. That's the right word.
There's not a lot left, but it's very important.
To hold space for a minute while they work in the heart space and the solar plexus of all of us. And this is with the yellow rays and the purple ones. And so the skyline is getting a lot of sun right now. There's no other color rays but the sun.
So that's part of this cosmic reunification, is I've been taking these rays and putting them into the atmosphere, and it's affecting the earth. And it's affecting all of mankind the chills, in a very big degree. This is it. We are at the end of the road, okay? Like, we are rising now or not at all. You are, every timeline shift, you are on one side or the other. And some people might go, well, I'm still alive, so I must be rising. Oh no, don't be fooled. Do not have expectations and think you know everybody's exit point or anything like that. It's beyond what you can fathom. But you are either rising or being removed from the light. There's only 2 ways you can go.
And the trees and also the planetary alignment. And this is a cosmic ray of the sun. This is one that we haven't received yet. It's extremely powerful.
Yes.
And that new line they created yesterday, attaching me once again to the sun, as I can see it like flowing back and forth. So I can see it coming in to where they're pouring it in me, and then flowing back out to the sun from my heart space. It's very interesting.
I am the sun.
But you would know that if you watched the Sekhmet one, in the portal of the Nile. And also me returning full power of the sun, and also the sun language returning workshop. And yeah, I do a lot to the sun. And then my DM Horus rose from the Sphinx when I fully healed the moon, and he carries the emblem of the moon on his neck, and I have this staff filled with the sun. And so this painting right here is the Nile, and I am now currently finishing the painting of the new earth, because it's here. We are on it. My DM and I.
And there's more energy of emotions rising. It's like just some deep emotions rising. I feel that. It's not necessarily painful, but it's emotional. I can just feel it like trickling out from the center of the heart, trying to overcome what just happened to me. And
yeah, so every time yeah, people don't want us uniting. People don't want my DM and I together. People don't want me doing this work. And the shadow has a way of using people as a puppet. So I was recently hit again, and had to overcome it. And it is what it is.
I just feel like they just need to be held close. So if they're relevant, I will speak of them. If it's part of my personal space or journey, I won't so much.
My DM, I'm trying to hold close to my heart, and I only wish he would know what's really going on my side, because we're internally connected. But he may not know all of why he feels what he feels, and it's not from me. They want us apart. They've always wanted that from Adam and Eve, and that's what they did, is they came in and they ripped apart Adam and Eve, who tried to return as Sekhmet and Horus, and ripped them apart, which was the sun and the moon, and what they did to the sun and the moon. And then they tried to come back again as Jesus and Mary Magdalene, and they ripped them apart, creating the Holy Grail and enslaving all of mankind and the earth completely. That's what happened, and that's what I've undone. And more. I undid all darkness back to the beginning of time.
So there we go to the tree of life. Remember in the beginning I said the tree of life is here. And
Listen
when I was
carefully.
mentioning the trees, it wasn't specifically the tree of life. It was like all of them. And then the rebirthing of like or what they would call redwoods and different trees of life, different like large trees of genetic composition where we used to have them, and they used to carry all of our energy and light. I don't know if they're being reborn necessarily, or we were just using their ability to still process this transmission because it was needed. That's beyond my need to understand right now.
Or explain.
But now the tree of life is coming into play separately. So all this sun is going into the tree of life.
There's a reason why it's taking its time, and we're adding all the sun back, because you're about to watch the collective consciousness. I haven't done it yet. Activation. So keep watching. It gets good.
Of course, on the new earth side.
The matrix is dying as I'm birthing the new earth.
And it's trickling
you
down
can't have both.
And into like the fountain of youth, the water, the water, the water. I just keep hearing water. Waterways from the trees. So from the tree of life and into the waterways. And this is the sun. And so with the sun holds DNA composition. It's like I see this genetic application. I don't want to use modification because that's not what it's doing. It's like applying a genetic code. There we go. That's the best way to describe it.
So when I do this, because I'm getting out, I don't want to think. I have to be a pure channel.
The yellow rays are also going into the skyline.
It's almost done, but important.
So I heard also let go of expectations, and then from the center of the heart, they're like pulling energy out again. So it's almost like if you pull it on a cord or a string and you're just pulling it out.
That's relevant to what happened to me. I was recently attacked again. It's a common thing. But all of you are being attacked by the shadow. They don't want you to rise. So it's going to always try to fool you, to dupe you, to get you to judge, to get you to have fear, to get money to be more important than love, whatever it is, of the shackles. And something recently came in and drained my light. So they had to reattach me to the sun again. And it all had to be made clear and just cleared out. So that's what they're doing there.
From that, and removing any water, any debris or anything, and it's like pulling from the center out. And that's what they're doing to the heart space.
I don't think that's just mine.
Well, no, because you can't have shadow in the heart space in order to receive pure Christ light. You cannot have shadow in the heart space to be in the new earth. You cannot. We cannot be duality anymore. What was done to God had to be rectified, and justice is being served. And so, what they call Judgment Day is your karmic playout, right? All karma served. That's why you don't want to have karma. You can't have any karma to make it through. And also, you won't be able to see clearly because you're still wounded and you're likely to choose within the shadow again. You have to clear it, get a new perspective, and make new choices.
I feel much more calm than I did when I started this, that's for sure. Much.
I would skip a lot, but I don't want to miss anything.
Okay, so I also just heard something different. Into the center of the cosmic eye.
Did you hear that? So I heard, see, this is why I don't want to skip. Because stuff, I'm just a pure channel. So let's hear that again.
Okay, so I also just heard something different. Into the center of the cosmic eye.
Into the center of the cosmic eye.
I saw an eye, just like we've done on the journey at one point where we walked through the center of God's eye. Like, remember that? It was something like that. And so I see like the, ooh, the chills. Ooh, the chills. I see like the center of an eye, and then I heard into the center of the cosmic eye.
Very relevant.
That's...
It's coming.
Where we're at so far. Mass awakening applied.
Did you hear that? Mass awakening applied.
And then the sun is like twinkling, like it's like flashes of light. It's the best way I can describe that. Fluttering off the sun. So it's like these boof, boof of light just boofing, sparking off of the sun.
So let's hear that again. Listen carefully to what I'm saying. It's deep.
Okay, so I also just heard something different. Into the center of the cosmic eye. That's what I just heard, and I saw an eye. I saw an eye, just like we've done on the journey at one point where we walked through the center of...
So I said that at 5222, which 222 is when my DM and I united. That's an energy that we house.
God's eye, like, remember that? It was something like that. And so I see like the, ooh, the chills. Ooh, the chills. I see like the center of an eye, and then I heard into the center of the cosmic eye.
This is relevant because I said into the center of the cosmic eye, but I started saying at 5222. And when my DM and I united at the level of Jesus and Mary Magdalene, the very first time on the journey, was at 222 frequency. So this is so relevant, and I didn't even know that till just now. Keep listening.
That's where we're at so far.
Where we're at so far, I don't know what's coming.
Mass awakening applied.
Mass awakening applied.
And then the sun is like twinkling, like it's like flashes of light. Boof. Best way I can describe that. Fluttering off the sun. So it's like these boof, boof of light just boofing, sparking off of the sun.
It's boofing. So what I see, it's like boom, boom, all of this rays of the sun. Now listen, this sun is different. This is not what you've been experiencing so far. So if you think the earth isn't about to shift with this, think again. There's more waves of huge changes coming.
Boofing, how funny vocabulary sometimes, right? But it's like almost like little explosions coming off of the sun.
It's almost done. Listen, this is the mass awakening part. Okay.
And then our skin. So our skin does something with the sun as well. And so our skin on our vessel is also being used. Through you, it'll be your feet. Like you absorb it through the roots. And for me, it's just pouring directly like into the vessel, but it's like coming into the skin. Our skin also does a form of like photosynthesis, um, when the sun is correct, right? Like we're so afraid it's going to burn us and we're so detached from the sun. But when it's correctly absorbed, our skin actually does its own type of photosynthesis, and that's what they're telling me. So as it's coming into the skin, it is again that DNA application. So it's not like necessarily like we're receiving genetic coding. I mean, we already have in a large form, and it's kind of it's almost like application. It's um, like what the trees are doing to the earth. God, I hope I'm explaining this for what I see right. It's like the sun comes into our skin and our skin transforms it or activates it into the genetic composition that is becoming of the sun. The sun is God. The sun is God. The sun is God. The sun and moon are God. The sun is God. It's like the God code. There we go.
See, I was channeling. I'm like, just it there.
I've noticed I'm channeling lately. I'm like petting my hair, and I just went into that space. So.
My hair's really long, by the way. This painting was accurate.
And then I get another image of shackles on the wrist being cut. Okay, and then they're like pouring, I didn't see a color, I heard love. Pouring love directly into parts that's needed. And when I came in here, I was not well, but I actually do feel a little love in my heart. So it's a huge shift, actually. I have to admit that. I just got chills. But I'm hearing they're pouring love into where it's needed.
I don't want to skip because it's almost done, and you're about to hear the best part.
And then I see flowers. Oh, and this has to do with the work of the sun that I've done today as well. So it's like all these beautiful, massively large flowers just growing up suddenly and opening. So you know how when flowers want to absorb the sun, they will lean towards it and open? And that's kind of the visual I got. It's like they just birthed in the new earth and they just opened and leaned towards the sun. And it's like all of this high cosmic rays of the sun for DNA application through photosynthesis, through the trees, our skin, and now flowers.
And this is important for mass awakening. So at 5:22, I said into the center of the cosmic eye. And then I said mass awakening applied. And then I started doing more things with the sun. And this, like application of this DNA activation. And they kept pouring it down my center. And then there's a line from my heart directly to the sun. Nobody else, but that was me. Everybody else is getting trickles. So listen very carefully now, because here comes the next part. I burp when I connect and stuff. Forgive that.
It's quite beautiful. I hope you guys can see what I see. It's quite beautiful.
Just a random burping. Trust it's part of the process. It's how I release and connect. When I'm healing people, I'll burp to help them. I do lots of things, but burping is one of them, so I apologize. It's rude. It's gross, but it is what it is.
It's amazing to see this process and to absorb this process. It's a little bit breathtaking. Like, it's like just kind of amazing. The earth is so complex. Our bodies are so complex. God created very complex things, and when the old world just assumed they knew everything, it kind of lowered what the truth really is, because they're so complex.
Doing the healings that I do, the medical field knows maybe 20%, if that. Trust me. I know.
So many layers and so many abilities, and they're all connected. That's the all connectedness.
Here we go.
That's
Listen.
Grace consciousness.
So everything I say matters. So you see how one thing led into the other? Okay, listen.
When you get in a state where you're like just in you and you don't think anything you do affects everybody around you, that's outside of Christ consciousness. And I see the third eye in the center of the forehead, and it almost looks like the triangle with the eye image of the like glowing sun in the center of the forehead. again, expectations of what that means and limiting it just for you. This affects like the entire universe right now. But I also am seeing it on our foreheads. Does that make sense? Like
Listen
the
carefully.
entire universe of application, okay? Where there's like a triangle with the eye and it's glowing the sun and it's in the center of our forehead, which is representative of the third eye, which I just spoke of, all connectedness, Christ consciousness. So remember back to Fiji when I opened the God portal and I brought back the root chakra, trees involved, it's all here. This is very complex. But I don't want you to limit what's happening just to your vessel. This is big. So it's the cosmic eye, into the center of the cosmic eye. Holy crap, I'm like processing it myself. And then I see the triangle with the eye on her forehead, and it's glowing of the sun, into the center of the cosmic eye. All connectedness. This affects everybody connected under God. So help me God. like this is full circle moment for everything I've been talking about.
You guys, I'm the one who brought us here. This is my work that brought us here. And so everything I've done is playing out in my head right now. From healing the sun and the moon to taking the all-seeing eye back to the portal of gods at Fiji from Mount Shasta. Mount Shasta was a false. It was a lie. And it's how they got in your head to control you. And it's all relevant for the Holy Grail, for what they did to Sekhmet and Horus and Adam and Eve.
Today, from the cards to seeing everything, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God. The words that I use are specific and layered. Even if they seem random, they are never random. And so the triangle with the eye, the all-seeing eye, Christ consciousness. Over the forehead, glowing with the sun,
Keep
mass
listening.
awakening. It's all here.
It keeps going.
It's all here. The light through the trees. Something big just happened. And I'm getting like... It's breathtaking. Like, let me absorb it for just a moment because I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, but I do, and it's massive. It's massive. It's not just us. This is happening to. This is massive. This is Christ consciousness application, genetic composition.
When I said that, it was 222 over here.
Cosmic rays of the sun and part of the energy that was this week.
Right before this, somebody cut me off from my connection to the sun. So there was energy that tried to stop this. Okay, there always is when something big comes. Now I know why. And I was processing what I was doing and the totality of the work that I've done over 5 years' time.
Sorry. So I saw another transmission from another person who does somewhat see through the shadow a little still, but not all the time. So one of the posts that he posts like channelings from like cosmic beings sometimes. And there was one that said this week ahead had something to do with a different ray of the sun coming through. And it's like clicking now. It's like dawning on me. This is what he was referring to. And I'm crying.
Yeah, I did the work.
Cosmic rays of the sun going through the trees and our skin and the flowers and application of genetic.
Now keep in mind, I already brought down all the Christ light through the rays into the earth. I brought down all the Christ light into the trees. I brought down the anointing of the blood of Christ before I undid the Holy Grail. I have spent 5.5, almost 6 years doing all this work. That led me to this moment.
Christ consciousness, all-knowing, all-seeing eye, third eye, into the
Listen carefully.
Into the center of the cosmic eye.
11:11.
This is big.
That was huge. It's almost done.
Christ consciousness applied. And then I get the visual of all of mankind. And it like goes across in a straight line, and then it like points up to the center point. So like a triangle shape of golden light, and it's just going across like the third eye of all of mankind that's connected to Christ consciousness. And then it rises up to a point in the sky where the sun is. So there's like this line of connectedness to everybody's third eye. Are you hearing me and feeling me? I hope so, because what I see, I try to do justice,
It's
and it's fast.
important.
So it's like this golden light going through the third eye of everybody that's connected to God, Christ consciousness awakening. And then it shoots up to a straight point, and it's all glowing like the sun, and it goes up to the sun. And now I also have to say the sun and the moon are like one, right? There's no separation between the two. So, of course, the moon energy is also relevant, but the sun is what's bringing this through. So these are cosmic rays. These are very high rays of the sun. And when I said the Lyrans were coming through for a cosmic reunification, there you go. Day 3 applied.
Day 3 applied.
And now I'm being handed something and being communicated to, so I'm just going to hold space.
There's one more little part
And
here.
receive.
Some of it I'm holding close to my heart. It has to do with me and my DM, and it's nobody's business at this point, right now.
As I receive that personal message, I keep that to myself. But then I got the image. So I talked about before how the atomization, how the sun and the moon were aligning, everything was aligning, and it was going to bring light through, and it was going to like atomize. You know how it's just going to like change the atoms, change the genetic creation. Am I doing that right? Am I expressing that to where you guys understand it? I hope so. So I got the image of the atomization.
So recently on my channel, a few weeks back, I talked about how this is an ethereal eclipse applied from day 3 of creating new earth and stuff. It was after that, after August, so this year, recently. And I said when the sun and the moons align in an ethereal eclipse, and somebody was like, it's not an eclipse. And I'm like, no, this is ethereal. The energies of the planets all aligned at the right time. We are in a full moon energy, and with the sun yesterday on the 3rd day of my cosmic light reunification, the 3rd, here we are again, 333, 3333, 222s, 111s. Everything I do is 369s applied and ones. It's all there. So I brought down all this cosmic rays of the sun. These are high frequencies of the sun because of the work that I've done. It was available to us. Brought it into the trees. They poured the sun down my vessel. It trickled into everybody else and will rise through the trees for everybody else. The flowers are helping to do it. The trees are doing it because there was too much shadow for the 144 to participate fully. Some are activating, some are not yet. And it's an application of all the DNA that I have put down. So I've actually said this was coming, but people they let the shadow stop them from seeing the truth. Okay. So you don't want to do that. I think it's done.
Like these spinning vortexes, atomizing, the creation of atoms, the creation of life, conscious activation of Christ awareness, Christ connectedness.
Yep. And the triangle with the eye went across sideways to mankind in their 3rd eye, and then it pointed up to the sun. If you paid any attention to this, I'm connected to the sun directly. Direct line to my heart is the sun.
You guys, this is big, and my forehead's tingling like crazy, and this is it's hard to put the totality of the work that I do together, but when I tell you right now that this is the work of God, this is the creation of
life,
this is like a finality event. It's quite big. It's quite big.
This is it, you guys.
It's quite big.
If you don't think the world is changing, if you don't think time is stopping for what it was, if you don't think that we can't be duality anymore, you had healing to do, because this is it. We're at the end.
We're at the end, and there is urgency to heal it all now and rise. God bypassed time, because I can't tell you the amount of times people brought judgment into the return of Christ work, tried to tear apart my DM, even to this day. Our connection is special. It's Adam and Eve, and Mary and Magdalene and Jesus, and Sekhmet and Horus, and they wanted to rip that apart from the time of Adam and Eve, and they continued to do so to this day. And I fought against it. Love did win. It's true. And it is a battle for your soul. So if you let the loud and in your face and shackles blind you, you will not be able to remove the shadow that binds you and keeps you in a karmic playout. Wounds will guide you if you let them. Let them go and find love now, because only pure love will make it through. Day 3 applied. Mass awakening applied. Into the center of the cosmic eye, connected to God, the sun, and the moon. So much love, my friends.